We have on the line with us, as always, our Assistant Superintendent, Ken Bradford. And today, during our meeting, as always, please make sure that you submit your questions via the online chat feature. We will have the opportunity for questions and answers at the end of our presentation, and we will add these to our updated FAQ document. And also, the presentation and the recording will be uploaded to louisianabelieves.com either this afternoon or early tomorrow morning. So make sure you look for it there. So I'm going to turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Ken Bradford.
Thank you, Meredith, and good afternoon, everyone. As Meredith just said, as you have questions coming in today, put those into the chat feature. And what we'll do is at the end, we will have a moderated Q&A session, and we will address all of those that come in throughout the presentation. I will be monitoring the chat and getting those ready and prepared for our session at the very end. What I want to talk about first is just the established office hours. We've been having these office hours really since early August, and we've been doing them all throughout the month of September. Every Thursday, we get on a call from 3 to 4, and we provide updates. Many of you have found this in the Department of Education newsletter, where we push out our school reopening office hours. We are going to be continuing office hours into the month of October. But what I wanted to just clarify with you is that they're going to be coming under the Office of Career and College Readiness. That is actually the division that Meredith and I both work in here at the Department of Education. And so we're in every office here in the department now. We're going to have these weekly office hours. So think of it like teaching and learning. That division within the department, they'll have office hours. Well, our office, the Office of College and Career Readiness, our office hours are going to be every Thursday at 3, and we're going to fold these reopening updates right into our office hour. So it'll look very similar to you, but I just wanted to point that out so that when you're looking for the link to reopening office hours, you do want to be looking for the Office of Career and College Readiness. It's our office that will be providing those weekly into October every Thursday. Next is, just so you know, I did want to give you a little background here, is that our office, we're the Office of Career and College Readiness. We promote post-secondary access, awareness, and exposure in grades pre-K through 12. Our office serves to prepare students with the knowledge, the skills, and the tools to succeed in college, career, and life after high school. We have released an outline of the offices and the professionals who are going to lead the work of improving educational outcomes for Louisiana's children. And so this PowerPoint, as well as the video, will be posted up on our website. This hyperlink here will go to an org chart of the Department of Education, and you'll be able to see how all the offices are structured. So I did want to share that with you today to make sure you knew that that is now available. Our agenda today, we have 5 things on it. The first, I'm going to speak briefly to the 100-day report that Superintendent Brumley released yesterday. Then Meredith is going to take us through shared spaces guidance, an update on the band static group guidance. We'll talk about an assessment update and an upcoming webinar for those of you that work on assessments in your school system. And then our partners from Children's Hospital New Orleans will provide an update on their town halls. And Dr. Finger will be joining me today to answer our medical questions in the Q&A. As Dr. Welch with Public Health, he is on a national call this afternoon about a national vaccine for COVID. So Meredith, let's go to the 100-day report. Yep, so yesterday, State Superintendent Brumley, he released his 100-day report. This report captures the key actions and the data points that were based on the 7 priorities outlined by Dr. Brumley's 100-day entry plan. There's a link here to the 100-day Strong Start reentry plan and the 100-day report. The priorities are ensuring a strong start to the 2020-21 school year, for him to advocate during the legislative special session, cultivate a strong and diverse team, provide clear, strong, and regular communications with school systems, listen to stakeholders, review the data and recommendations, and develop a deeper knowledge of the department. So I just want to emphasize again on that previous slide, there is now an organization chart for the department with all of our offices, all of our substructures, our divisions, etc. That's there for you to look at. You can see who's leading what initiatives. So I encourage you to take a look at the plan, look at this 100-day report, look at the organizational chart of the department, and familiarize yourself with that. That way you'll know who and when to reach out to certain individuals in the agency. Meredith, at this time, I'll turn it over to you for the next 3 slides for what are kind of our 3 biggest updates today, and that is on the shared space, the band, vocal music, and assessments.
All right, thank you, Ken. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on our reopening call. We do have some brief updates to share with you. Today, we wanted to start with some questions we've received surrounding how to best utilize your shared space during phase 3. So when we're referencing shared space, we're talking about a cafeteria, a library, something that is at use during the school day. So during phase 3, the following guidelines for the use of this should be applied. Students should be spaced 6 feet apart, up to 75% capacity of the space. So if a cafeteria can hold 100 students maximum capacity, you can use up to 75 students in there at a time if they are spaced 6 feet apart. You also need to try to maintain the static group size of 50 when utilizing these shared spaces. So that's some updated guidance that we have received surrounding questions that have come into our COVID account about how to best utilize these spaces during phase 3. The next update is relative to band, vocal, choir. So for phase 3, we are allowing band, vocal, and music activities to be held indoors. However, the recommendation is from Louisiana Department of Health that they be held outdoors to the greatest extent possible. If those classes are unable to practice outdoors during phase 3, the class may be held indoors in accordance with the National Federation of State High School Associations and the National Association for Music Education Guidance, which has physical distancing, masking, and instrument covering provisions. So this link has been provided not only on this slide deck, but it's also housed in our Strong Start library. So you can go there and find a direct link to this guidance, which outlines how to safely hold band, vocal, music classes during this pandemic. Additionally, when singing, whether that's indoors or outdoors, participants must practice physical distancing and the use of facial coverings. And then we've received some questions surrounding the static group size of when it applies to band. Band must adhere to the static group size of 50. However, multiple groups of 50 may perform or practice together as long as they have appropriate physical distancing. And I'm going to let Dr. Finger speak real quick to the importance of the facial coverings while singing. So if you don't mind, Dr. Finger, giving us a little context surrounding that.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for the introduction, Meredith. I think this is incredible how much this has evolved since March. And as we told you when we started these sessions earlier in the summer, information might change, and we'll give you the most up-to-date information in a transparent format so we can make sure we keep students and the entire educator team safe. It appears to be that in groups of vocal music that has the potential to be a super spreader type of event as disclosed with several events in early March and April. With that in mind and a lack of full understanding how that virus might be spread, the current recommendations are with vocal music to really ensure that we keep masks in place. In addition, with band, there's an added requirement for wind instruments for those participants to use masks with slits, as well as with horn instruments to use a bell cover to really function as the mask for the student who's using the bell instrument. I think this is going to be, we'll learn a lot more about it. And I recognize we're erring on the side of caution, but this is the national standard that almost all schools across the country are adopting. It's no different. And the encouragement to practice, if possible, in the outdoors area just helps to dilute virus if it is present at all. So I think your overview, Meredith, was great. The document from the National Association of Music Education is actually a pretty easy, quick read. It's about 20 pages and really can be helpful for the team leaders on the phone call right now as they plan for the upcoming academic semester.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Finger. The last update and final update we have before we'll let our Children's Hospital partners speak to their ongoing partnership with us is an assessment update. So as we've mentioned before, the Fall LEAP 2025 High School Assessment Administration is currently scheduled for December 1st through the 18th. But in response to delayed school openings, whether that's due to the pandemic or whether it's due to Hurricane Laura or other natural disasters, they have opened up a second window for January 6th through the 26th. School systems will be asked to submit their choice of window to the department from October 1st through 9th through DRC Insight. Additional dates and reminders are forthcoming, so look for that in our weekly newsletter. And in this week's weekly newsletter, they also released some updates regarding LEAP 2025 for grades 3 through 8 in the spring. So once again, due to the challenges that have been facing our schools whenever it comes to reopening this year, the LEAP 2025 spring testing for grades 3 through 8 has been rescheduled as follows. So April 26th through May 26th will be the window for computer-based testing. April 28th through the 30th is the ELA and math paper-based test window. And then May 3rd through 4th is science and social studies paper-based test. If you have any specific questions surrounding the assessment updates, please reach out to assessment@la.gov with those questions, or you can catch them on their next office hours, which their next office hours, as Assistant Superintendent Bradford mentioned, every office is offering office hours for our school systems. So the assessment and accountability office hours are going to be September 29th at 3:45 p.m. So the information for that is linked in this PowerPoint, which will also be uploaded to our website, but it's also found in your weekly newsletter. So make sure you check that out to get that information. Now I'm going to turn it over to Kimberly Buckingham with Children's Hospital of New Orleans. And once again, Kimberly, we are so grateful for the partnership that we've developed with y'all as we work to reopen our schools. So thank you so much for that support and guidance.
Well, thank you, Meredith, and thank you, Ken, the Department of Education, for giving us an opportunity to just recap on our resources and support the school. We couldn't be more grateful, so we are also appreciative of that. So I'll just go ahead and just do a high-level overview of what resources we have available to you. Please don't forget that we have that phone line that all schools can call. That's 504-837-7760. And this is our hotline that's available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and Saturday, Sunday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. This is a resource for all high-level COVID-19 guidance pertaining to an individual. So if there's anybody that you are concerned about having symptoms, please feel free to call this number. We can provide that guidance. We can set up a virtual care visit with a physician. We can enroll somebody in at-home symptom monitoring, return to school screening. And if you're in the greater New Orleans area, we can also connect you with COVID-19 testing. So we do collaborate with the Office of Public Health on this resource. So if there are any questions that start to get into the realm of determining close contacts or deciding to quarantine a class or anything like that, we will point you in the right direction of your regional medical director so that you can carry on that conversation with them. Additionally, we do have our town hall series that will be continuing into October, and there will be more details to come on that. But the most immediate session that's coming up is next Tuesday, that's September 29th from 3 to 4 p.m. And those are the access details on there. I will remind everyone that we do have these recordings on our website. So I'd encourage you to go on there and kind of see previous discussions that have taken place. We always provide a high level update on COVID-19 as it stands in Louisiana and open up the time for questions.
All
I'd
right.
also encourage everyone to just take a quick look at the FAQ portal that we have on our website and send any questions into our email address, which is school-wellness@lcmchealth.org. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Kimberly. If you have not, or your system has not had the opportunity to check out the school wellness page that Children's Hospital has put together, I highly encourage you to do so, as they have a lot of really helpful information for our school systems. So, Ken, do we have any questions coming in?
Yes, thank you, Meredith. We actually have three questions that came in, that I will, the first one I will ask of Dr. Finger to answer, and that's, Dr. Finger, what is the protocol or practice that should be done for checking for lice in school? It's been brought to our attention that at times, if there may be a lice breakout or lice is found, that a school nurse would go around and they would check every student's individually, perhaps their hair. And I know that that's in very close contact with the student when they have to do that. Can you speak to what the best practice is or the recommendation is now for having to do a check like that?
I think you're on mute, Dr. Finger.
Thank you. I apologize. Thanks for being courageous and reminding me I was on mute. For that exact example, Ken, in addition to wearing a mask, which they'll already be wearing, we would suggest that they wear eye protection and a gown and gloves just for that examination, which hopefully won't be exponentially long. But I think just to be safe, that's the better part of valor. I don't know from your question if that's someone who would routinely look at an entire class. I know I frequently get notes that someone in the class has lice, and it's our responsibility to do that examination of my children. But I would definitely say if a nurse is going to do that, they should put on sort of the PPE, since they will be close to a scalp for more than a minute or two.
Thank you, Dr. Finger. I'll take the next one. And the next one is noticing that Friday night, actually Thursday night, which is today, there may be some high school scrimmages and jamborees that are starting to occur across the state. And then we know that next week kicks off high school football. There's a question about, are cheerleaders allowed to cheer? And I've gotten that question a couple of times, and more specifically, the question is, are they allowed to build pyramids or stack? And so what I just wanted to clarify for everybody is that the High School Athletic Association has put out their general guidelines for fall sport competitions. Mr. Bonine from the LHSAA, the executive director, sent this out on September the 17th. And so I spoke with him this morning to confirm, what the answer is. And he said these are published right on the LHSAA website. So I'd encourage you to go there as you're beginning these seasons. But yes, the question was, can cheerleaders stack and build pyramids? The answer was yes, but they must continue to wear face coverings. And can dance team lines lock up? The answer is yes, they must continue to wear face coverings. So again, I would just encourage you, anything relative to fall sport competitions, that you review those LHSAA guidelines. They're on the LHSAA site at www.lhsaa.org. Next, Dr. Finger, is our last question that has come in for the day. And This is if you could just provide a refresher for if somebody is a contact of a contact, does that individual have to be quarantined? Again, a contact of a contact.
I'll answer no, and then I maybe will take us through the example using names of students because that might be easier for folks. So Johnny comes to school on Monday. He's fine. He's there on Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday night, he gets a fever and a sore throat. He gets tested for COVID-19 on Wednesday morning, and it's positive. Close contacts with Johnny will be defined by who he had a close contact with on Monday and Tuesday. We go and look back 2 days before the positive tests / symptoms. Once those contacts are defined, then the school nurse or administrator would dialogue with the hotline and their local regional medical director to help define those close contacts with a high degree of clarity. A sibling of one of those close contacts is not a close contact. So it would be, the X number of kids in Johnny's class who were within 6 feet of him for more than 15 minutes, but a sibling of one of those classmates does not count as a close contact. So there are no 2 degrees of separation for close contacts. You're on mute, Ken.
Thank you, Dr. Finger. Another question has come in for you, and that you'll be best suited to answer, and that is, any recommendations on library books and checkout procedures? Students are not sharing the book, but is there a particular time frame before allowing another student to check out a returned book?
No. Everything we know about this virus is that it's not spread on environmental surfaces like that. So once it's returned, it could be checked out. If you want to wait a day, that's fine, but it, theoretically could be checked out the next day or even later that day. So it might just be easier to have them returned and then put them back into circulation perhaps the next day.
Right. One more question, and I know I've heard Dr. Welch answer this, but it's been a while, so I will let you reiterate this here. And this is about for a student that is receiving speech therapy services. Does the speech therapist have to wear full PPE while giving this speech therapy to students?
No. They need to make sure that they keep their mask on I'm sorry, is the speech therapist wearing a mask and the student is not wearing a mask, Ken?
It's not clear, so maybe you could give an example of each.
Sure. So my daughter is going to have speech therapy this year, and I know that at some point in time she will be in a room with her speech therapist who is having her do things that require my daughter to take her mask off. The speech therapist will have her mask on for the vast majority of the time. If at some point the therapist does need to remove the mask, that speech therapist will maintain 6 feet of physical distancing from my daughter during that brief time that the mask is off, similar to a teacher who takes a mask holiday at some point during the day. They won't take a mask holiday while they're within 1 or 2 feet of a student. They will take that when they're 6 feet separated from everybody.
Great.
Does that answer the question with the degree of clarity that you needed, Ken?
Yes, sir. I believe it does. Well, that brings us to the end of the questions for today. So with you, Dr. Finger, I'll allow you and Ms. Kim, if you want to give any closing remarks from Children's Hospital New Orleans. And then Meredith, I'll turn it back over to you to close out, and you can tell folks where they can find today's resources. So Dr. Finger?
Yeah, just one thing. As we've transitioned to phase 3 over the last couple of weeks in the state, remember the major change there is simply capacity. Everything else remains intact. Our attention to letting team members know if you're sick and encouraging families to self-report if their children are sick, using masks, physical distancing, and hand hygiene. The transition to phase 3 simply increases capacity, and that capacity is you guys all know that, but while we increase to 75% capacity, maintaining that 6 feet of distance. I think it's really, really important to remember. That's all I have to add, Ken. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Kimberly, do you have anything to add?
Sure, I'll just, reiterate our gratitude one more time for this partnership with the Department of Education and just applaud all of the schools that have had to pivot on the fly to reopen during this challenging time, and really to just encourage everybody, we are here to support you. So whether that's directly with the COVID-19 need or other health questions, please don't hesitate to call that hotline. Again, that's 504-837-7760, and reach out to us at our email address, school-wellness@lcmchealth.org. We'll be happy to give you medical consultations. So let us know if you need anything.
Okay, Meredith, you want to remind folks where they can find the resources?
Yes, absolutely. Once again, this PowerPoint deck and the recording will be uploaded to our Strong Start library. It will also be featured on our Strong Start homepage. If you have any additional questions that come up during the week or in between our office hours, please feel free to email us at ldoecovid19support@la.gov. Also, make sure you check the frequently asked question document as we update that regularly as well. And look for more information in our newsletter for the town halls to be continued through October with Children's Hospital. So we will have that information for you shortly. But I think that's it, Ken.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and have a good day. Have a good weekend.